sunny today with a high of 63. Then tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 45. Maverick's Real Roast Beef is known for their namesake sandwiches, but don't miss out on their other great offerings like the chicken, fish, Philly steak, and brisket. Mavericks is located in Roseville off Lexington Avenue, 1 mile south of Highway 36. Visit their website at mavericksbeef.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Good morning, and welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm glad you've made the connection and are with us today. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and the goal of our show is to explore a wide range of topics that challenge us to see ourselves, our community, and the world around us in ways that get us thinking, get us talking, get us out and doing things, and get us connected. And perhaps inspired or challenged to do just a bit more because we've made the connection. We are doing our continued series on MELSA. So our topic today is Library Connections, brought to us by MELSA, which is the Metropolitan Library Service Agency. And for more information on MELSA, you can go to melsa.org, and you can learn about all the cool things that they do. But we also have two very cool co-hosts that can tell us about that as well. We have Sally of MELSA and Susan the librarian. Welcome to you both.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, and hello.
And Sally, tell us a little bit about this week's show.
Sure. So this week, we are very happy to talk about all the teen events going on at our Metro Public Libraries for Teentober. It's kind of a national effort to, put some extra attention on all the great teen resources and programming. And our Metro Public Libraries are full speed ahead with that initiative. And we have a guest with us today, Alyssa Stevensky, who is the Teen Services Coordinator for the Ramsey County Library and is a Teen Services Librarian at the Shoreview branch. And before that, they taught middle school and high school English for a number of years. And so I've worked with teens and tweens for like 15 years now. So we're very happy Alyssa will be joining us to talk about Ramsey County Libraries teen resources and programming.
And we also have, we're going to be promoting the Twin Cities Book Festival.
Correct. So each year, the Twin Cities Book Festival, which is usually like the third Saturday in October, and no exception, it will be next Saturday, the 19th. It's from 10 to 5 p.m. and it's in the Progress Center at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds, which if you go to the fair and you go to the Eco Experience or that Eco building, that is the Progress Center building. So that's the building that it will be happening. And it is a great event. It puts a lot of attention on writing and reading and local authors and authors even from other places as well. But at the MELSA table, we always feature local authors, and we feature authors who participate in the Anoka County Library's author program that they run. And so we've got two of the authors of the 8 who will be with us next Saturday at the festival. We have Andrea Christensen and Joe Field, and they will be talking about their work and their books that they will have available for sale and signing at the book festival next weekend.
And just FYI, that is one of the buildings on the fairgrounds that does have an HVAC system.
Oh, fun fact to know.
So you won't freeze.
It does, but I should note they actually do not have the heat on them. They have the door because the doors are open all the time. And so I had a kind of a heads up to our featured authors, but also to attendees that you may want to dress accordingly. It could be brisk. It's been so nice lately, but now it's cooling off a bit. So it could be chilly in there. But another cool thing is they have a bunch of food trucks that park out front too. And so it's just kind of a fun event. But yeah, despite the fact they do have that system available, they do not avail themselves of it at the festival.
Yeah.
And what's the date again?
It is Saturday, October 19th. It's from 10 to 5.
And so just go down to the State Fairgrounds, look for the Eco building, and
Correct.
And my guess is if you once you get on the the state fairgrounds, you're going to see the food trucks for sure.
Yeah,
Let's know
it's
them.
pretty easy to find, and it's nice because it's a free event and it's free parking, unlike when you go for the fair. So yeah, it's awesome.
Wonderful. Susan, do you have any updates for us from last month to this month? We do our show with Melsa on the second Tuesday of the the second Saturday of the month. And any feedback from last show and what we featured for them and what we're because I know that was the library card was a big.
That was the library card, yes. Many of my colleagues were happy. Well, maybe not the one that I called out on the air, but the rest were happy.
Right.
That we were leaning into the library card, and and this month we're leaning into Teentober, so that'll make the youth services librarians especially happy. I know in our library system, Carver County, we have a 6-word story contest for anybody who lives in or goes to school in Carver County, and all of the libraries feature something for teens.
Wonderful. Well, Alyssa, we're glad that you have joined us today to talk with us a little bit about the Ramsey County and some of the work that you do. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks for having me on the show. So, as you mentioned, my name's Alyssa, and I am the interim teen services coordinator for Ramsey County Library. As Sally said, I've worked with teens for at least the past 15 years. And I'm really excited to talk about some of the programs that we have going on this month at Ramsey County Libraries for teens.
Well, let's just jump right in. I know that there's a Teentober pumpkin decorating. That's down in Shakopee, but tell us some things that are happening with Ramsey County.
Great, yes. So one I want to talk about is specifically at the Shoreview branch, and we have what we're calling Fiction Fervor, which is kind of a review opportunity for anyone in grades 6 through 12 going on this month. So we have a review writing station set up where we ask that they review any book or movie, TV show, music album that they've really liked, or maybe that they really didn't like. And they write a brief review and enter it in. And we have some participation prizes that they can have. And at the end of the month, we'll be doing a drawing for some larger prizes, including some like really nice hardcover books. So we're hoping to hear from some teens and tweens about what they're enjoying watching and reading.
So you're developing their critique style.
Yes, exactly. We're very curious to hear what they're, watching and reading and enjoying or not enjoying.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Uh,
and that kind of helps with collection development too. Kind of, we're sneaky about that.
Yes, certainly. That helps for sure. So that we know then if there's a certain author they're really enjoying, let's make sure we have plenty of copies of that.
Sounds
Uh,
true.
we also have this reoccurring program called Maker Teen. And right now that's at the Roseville Library on Tuesdays from 3 to 5 p.m. and also on Tuesdays at the Shoreview Library from 4 to 6 p.m. And I'm really excited about some of the activities we have going on this month for that. So
Did you
Maker,
have some sort of an interesting crochet thing I recall reading?
it's definitely possible that we've done that before. We do every week. So we tried to have a different kind of craft or like project with technology that we have all the supplies for each week. So for instance, one that's really popular in October is this one we have called Terrorariums.
Now, what is a terrorarium? Is it kind of like an aquarium?
A little bit. So it's kind of like where you can create a mini world. So kind of more like a terrarium. But instead, with it being October, if you'd like to make yours a little more scary focused with like little bats and moss and like little pumpkins, you can certainly go that route with it. So it's essentially a little mini world. So all kept inside of a smaller glass jar. But the teens, oh gosh, I just give them, the different supplies, little like 3D printed black cats, some little pumpkins, some little plants, and they're all so creative. And with that, although it is called a terrarium, if they'd like to make it a less scary, like pumpkin patch theme, they can certainly do that as well.
A question for you. Is this something that someone can drop in and do, or is this something that there's a specific date and time that they would need to sign up and attend?
That's a great question. So it is, they can certainly just drop in. Every week we do have a different craft on the Ramsey County Library website, which is rclreads.org. We do list which craft it is each week, but they can drop by anytime during that 2-hour window that we're having it. And they can drop by any week where we will certainly have different crafts and things that they can work on.
Wonderful.
Witchcraft, but not witchcraft.
Exactly.
It's all in how you say it. In working with these students, have you found that there's been certain leaders that emerge, the kids that really take it on, and you start to see their personality get supported, and you see a change?
Oh, 100%. It's so lovely. So Make Your Teen, we have some kids now that have been regularly attending for 2 to 3 years. And like watching as like new kids come in, and maybe it's an activity they've done before, like button making, seeing them step up. If some of the newer teens have questions about how to do this, and they're like, oh, let me show you.
Oh,
And they're so like quick to help them. Like before I can even get around the table, these other teens are there and ready to like help show them how to do the project. And that's just so lovely to see.
are there some other activities you want to share?
There are. So one that's coming up not until November, so it's a little further ahead, is called ARF, or Animal Rescue Fair, which is the first one that Ramsey County Library is having, where we are really aiming to teach about what animal rescues are and all about what they have to offer. There won't be animals there on site to adopt, but that will be Saturday, November 23rd at the Roseville Library from 12 to 4 p.m. And one thing that so it has lots of things there. We'll have lots of animal rescues. You can learn about that. We will have prize drawings for some different really great like baskets of animal toys and animal care products. We'll also have some therapy dogs that you can cuddle up with, some young kittens that you can see from the Bitty Kitty Brigade.
Uh-huh.
And also, and this is where I think the teens will be particularly interested, we'll be making some fleece tie blankets that we will be donating to the Bitty Kitty Brigade.
Mm.
So it's a nice like volunteer opportunity where you can come out and help make some kittens, some blankets for the kittens, but also just kind of enjoy doing something like a handicraft and kind of chatting while we do that. Making those blankets is something that we've enjoyed doing together before.
And then seeing it be able to be used in such a good cause, and understanding what the cause is a great thing. I think that's wonderful. Do you have? We have a few more minutes. Do you have any other activities that you'd like to share?
I do. So I do want to note that in addition to having our programs that are led in person by like a library staff member or by an AmeriCorps CTEP member, we do have some that you can just partake in anytime you stop by the libraries. So like some different take and make activities. At the Maplewood Library this month, they have different masks that you can take home to decorate. So you can participate in that anytime you're at the Maplewood Library. Also, I know that we're getting more used to thinking about all the different things that libraries have to offer, and not just books and graphic novels, as great as those things are, but we also have things like video games. So I do want to mention that a few of our libraries for Ramsey County Library, like the White Bear Lake Library, has a PS5 that you can stop by and play. The Maplewood Library also has video game systems that you can just stop in and play, like a PS4 and Xbox One. So just keep in mind that we also have things like that going on. Also with our gaming, One program coming up next week, October 16th at the Shoreview Library, is this one we have called Cosmic Gaming and 3D Printing. And that goes from 3:30 to 5 on Wednesday, wherein we play video games on our large drop-down screen, eat some snacks, and also if you're interested in working on 3D printing, we can help you out with that. So that's a good time.
Oh, that's fabulous. I love learning about all the different things that a library offers. I had no idea that, there was a maker opportunity, that there was a kitchen up in Anoka that you could go and reserve. I mean, it's just amazing how the library opportunities to serve the community has grown, and really appreciate all that you do to support our teens, to support our young people, and give them an opportunity to learn not only about the books, but to be a good critic and to participate in the Maker Series, and to know that this is a place that can be their home too, a home away from home, their second home.
Exactly. We just want to welcome them and answer questions they have, and also give them some fun, engaging activities to participate in, as well as many wonderful books and graphic novels and manga.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you joining us today. I'm going to need to go to commercial. When we come back, we'll be talking a little bit more about all the fun things with Teen-tober. But we'll also get to know some of our authors that'll be participating in the Fall Festival of Books. Is that the right way to say it, Susan?
Twin Cities Book Festival.
Thank you. We'll call it the Twin Cities Book Festival. We'll be talking more about that with authors. We'll be right back. Thanks for joining us.
At Better Futures Minnesota, we support Minnesota's environment by working towards zero waste and the transformation of the lives of men in our workforce development model. Better Futures Minnesota engages men with histories of incarceration and homelessness. Our approach reaffirms each man's dignity, instilling self-discipline and behaviors that empower them to achieve self-sufficiency and a better future. We set hard-to-employ men on a pathway to independence through employment in our reuse retail warehouse and work crews, specializing in building deconstruction, property maintenance, appliance recycling, and janitorial services. We strive to create a sustainable future where social equity, economic opportunity, and environmental justice intersect. By addressing these interconnected challenges, Better Futures Minnesota works towards building resilient, healthy communities for all Minnesotans. We believe that true sustainability can only be achieved when all members of our community can thrive. Join us in making a difference. Visit us at betterfuturesminnesota.com and donate today.
This is Andy Addo, your host of Twin Cities Pride Amplified, inviting you to join us this Saturday at 3 p.m. as we get to know Alexis and Dejan from Family Equality. They are planning a huge Midwest family fun weekend this October, and we'd like to share all the details with you. Pizza parties, donuts and drag, and making connections with other community families. That's all coming up this Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
This Halloween, Open Eye Theater cast a spell on audiences with Broomstick, starring Twin Cities' favorite Cheryl Willis in an electrifying solo performance as a village witch with dark secrets. Her haunting tale of love, loss, and hair-raising vengeance she wreaks upon those who have crossed her will leave you breathless. Laugh, scream, and experience a spine-tingling Halloween adventure. Broomstick is playing now through October 31st. Get tickets at openeyetheater.org.
Hi, this is Paul Metza, host of the Wall of Power Radio Hour. We have been on the air on AM 950 for 10 years. We feature cool people from all walks of life in all 50 states. We've had musicians, politicians, actors, poets, people with great stories or a tale to tell. Tune in every Saturday night at 6 p.m. on AM 950, and podcasts are available on all streaming services.
Did you know Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken airs 5 nights a week at 10 p.m.? That's 5 nights of talking about ghosts, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. We're talking about the paranormal every Monday through Friday with some of the most trusted names in the field. Join us and step into the unknown with Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken, Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Only if you dare.
I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm glad you've joined us and are part of the conversation. Our topic today is continuing our series on library connections, and that's brought to us by MELSA, the second Saturdays of the month, here on AM 950 Radio on Connections Radio Show. And MELSA stands for the Metropolitan Library Service Agency. And to learn more about MELSA, you can go to melsa.org, learn about all the cool things that they do in supporting and promoting the activities in our metropolitan libraries. And we're on the third show of our series, which is very exciting. And this month is Teentober that we're focusing on. And I have Sally of MELSA as my co-host and Susan the librarian as my other co-host. We've been talking about fun things to do with Teentober. And I wanted to at least start with some more Teentober things to promote. And Susan has some great things for us to think about.
There are a couple of things, not just during October, that teens can do in their library that will be good for their future, whether they're going to college or need it on a resume. There's a lot of volunteer opportunities throughout the library systems in the Twin Cities that teens can do. Some of them are recurring, some, as the blanket tying one was mentioned earlier at Ramsey County, some are not. And a lot of libraries also have teen advisory groups that can, where teens could give their voice in programming either throughout the system or at an individual library. And these are things that I urge you, if you have a teen in your life, if they're interested, or if they're not interested and still need volunteer opportunity hours for school. That's a thing.
Extra credit.
Yep. Check in with your library's website. That should have that information there. But I think generally all libraries tend to, we do stuff for teens throughout the year. We kind of lean into it to October. Everybody has some fun stuff going on. You mentioned earlier that Anoka County has that kitchen. They have an adaptive cooking class for teens coming up in there.
Cool.
Carver County has our 6-word story time and other programming. Dakota County Library has, I see they had a first job interview prep going on this month. Hennepin County has like a lot of gaming programs and an anime club for those teens who like those things, And the gaming, they have all sorts of gaming, both online if you just want to stay at home and participate, and in person. Ramsey County, we mentioned a few earlier. I'm going in alphabetical order. Can you tell?
Now that you mention it, it's now brought to my attention. I noticed.
Scott County, in addition to Zombie Capture the Flag, has pumpkin decorating and a boba tea giveaway. So they're really leaning into the whole, the scarier.
It is Halloween, but I do want to make mention the after hours Zombie Capture the Flag is an in-person. It's ages 12 to 16. Bring your friends and work as a team to dominate in this themed Capture the Flag after hours event. That's the operative word, I think, in there. We will be using rubber chicken slingshots in lieu of the Nerf weapons, and there are both snacks and drinks. You do need to sign up for this one. That's Friday, October 18th. Does sound like fun.
I am wondering if the rubber chickens are both the slingshot and the thing you're slingshotting, or what. I would like some pictures.
I think anything that has a rubber chicken in it in a Capture the Flag event should get special mention.
Maybe they'll do the songs of Mr. Chicken from the internet.
You never know. The pumpkin decorating, I want to make mention, that's also for 11 to 18. And you can come and decorate your pumpkin for the Tween Teen Pumpkin Decorating Contest. And that's 6:30, 8 o'clock in person on Tuesday, the 22nd.
Just go to at Shakopee. Okay.
Yep. And then Teentober Escape Room. Did you see that one?
I did not.
That's kind of scary, but kind of cool. Yes. You and your mountaineering team are stuck high on a mountain, search for secret compartments, find hidden clues, and solve puzzles to plot your route to safety before the Yeti attacks. That's on October 29th, 6:30 to 7:30. I live in fear of the Yeti all the time.
I don't. Okay. I don't think they can find me where I am.
All right. And then I do also want to mention the boba tea kit giveaway, and you can come and learn how to make boba.
That's also at Scott County.
Terrific.
And in St. Paul, they've got a lot of hands-on creating. They have the Createx studios we mentioned last time. Washington County has also gaming, but they also have career conversations for teens too. So we've got, no matter what your teen is into, we have probably something throughout the Twin Cities that they can stop by their library and learn more about or participate in.
And Alyssa, I know we had you on the last segment. Do you have any other comments about Teen-tober?
Yeah, I mean, I think mentioning that there's just such a wide array of activities to try to hit all, such a variety of things that the teens might be interested in. I should give a shout out to, we've talked about a lot of fun things, and not that school isn't fun, but I do want to give a shout out to some of the resources we have in case they need school, have some school questions.
Yeah, we do the Help Now homework help online tutors.
Yep, that's a great one. Also, if they have a History Day project coming up later this school year, just know that there are lots of History Day hullabaloos throughout the region that will be coming up in case they have that to work on.
Oh, that's wonderful. And that's Alyssa Stevensky from the Ramsey County Library, and she's in the youth services, and she works with all kinds of cool teen programs. And with that, we're at the end of this segment. I do want to make an introduction because I did promise that we would at least be introducing our two authors. We'll be having a conversation with them in our third segment. We have Andrea Christensen. Hi, Andrea. And we have Joe Field. Joe Field are both going to be featured authors at the Twin Cities Book Festival. Andrea Christensen is going to be talking about her book, a very cool book. And Joe is going to be talking not only about his book, but a little bit about a reunion that took place. And they're both from Anoka County. And I look forward to having a chance to talk to them a little bit more in depth about the books that they've written and their support of the Twin Cities Book Festival. And we'll be right back after a few short announcements. Thanks for joining us.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, AM 950, this is JP Derpagosian, and I'll be filling in for Matt McNeil this Monday. I'll do my best because, let's be honest, there is only one Matt McNeil. It's crunch time for this election with less than 30 days to go. So my guests will be Allison Page, who's running for the Wisconsin Assembly, and Matt Caffrey, who's the Senior Director of Organizing at Swing Left. Plus special guest Dale Stark from Hennepin Arts and AM 950's very own Philip Anthony will join me. On top of that, we'll be giving away tickets to Harry's Situation at the Landmark Theater, so see you this Monday at 3 p.m.
Eat Local Minnesota is a great way to find locally owned Minnesota restaurants and food purveyors. You'll find high-quality food and unique eating experiences with dishes from around the world. Just visit eatlocalminnesota.com for your next meal. Crooner Supper Club invites you to Maggie's Lounge, an exciting new bar lounge. It's open Wednesdays through Sundays beginning at 4:30 for cocktails and light fare. And you don't need a ticket to enjoy the great atmosphere of Maggie's. So stop by Crooner Supper Club off Moore Lake and Highway 65 for dinner, drinks, and live music from both big-name local and national artists. Cafe Latte combines a cafe dining experience with gourmet quality food. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
Hi, Jim of Better Futures Minnesota here. Does your business or organization need janitorial services, lawn care, or snow removal? Obtain a free, no-obligation estimate from Better Futures Minnesota when you let us know that you heard about us on AM 950. Our supervised, hardworking, and affordable crews will handle your interior and exterior building and property maintenance needs while you help men in the community transform their lives and walk on a positive path to success. It's a win-win. To learn more, go to betterfuturesminnesota.com under Business Services.
Hi, I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
Your hosts for Searching for Service. Tune in to Rotary's influential show and podcast, sharing touching stories of service locally and abroad.
We bring you weekly guests that connect, inform, and inspire our listeners on all things service.
We highlight diverse service opportunities that appeal to both Rotarians and people driven to serve in their communities.
Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. or anytime via podcast. It's time
to stop searching
and start serving.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Partly sunny today with a high of 63, then tonight partly cloudy with a low of 45. Maverick's Real Roast Beef is known for their namesake sandwiches, but don't miss out on their other great offerings like the chicken, fish, Philly steak, and brisket. Mavericks is located in Roseville off Lexington Avenue, 1 mile south of Highway 36. Visit their website at mavericksbeef.com. KTNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Good morning, and welcome back to Connections Radio Show. I'm Lori Fitz, your host. And on the show, we like to talk about ideas that matter, and we also like to talk about activities that are fun. And we're doing that a lot today with our MELSA. And MELSA, if you don't know what MELSA stands for, it's the Metropolitan Library Service Agency. And we are doing Library Connections as a series, and it's brought to us by MELSA on the second Saturdays of the month here on AM 950 Radio, the progressive voice of Minnesota. So with me today is Sally of MELSA and Susan the librarian. Sally, tell us about the authors that we'll be talking to.
Sure. So we have with us today Andrea Christensen and Joe Field, and each of them are participants in the Anoka County Library's local author program, and they are both residents of Anoka County, and Joe also has a law practice in Anoka County. And they will be joining us at the Twin Cities Book Festival next Saturday, October 19th. Joe will be at our table from noon to 2 p.m., and Andrea will be joining us at our table from 3:30 to 5 p.m. that day. And then we do have 6 other local authors from the Anoka County Libraries program who will be joining us at various times throughout that day.
Wonderful. Andrea, let's start with you. You have written a book called How Sweet It Is.
Yes, I have.
It sounds like a really engaging exploration where, and I'm reading from a little overview. Robin Fox never thought she would go home again, but when her baking dreams came to a crashing halt in Paris, she finds herself in the slightly rundown bakery her grandparents own in Minnesota. Now she gets reconnected with Sammy Johnson. Tell me a little bit about that reconnection.
Yeah, so Sammy Johnson, she went to high school together in a tiny little town of Deep Haven, Minnesota, on the shores of Lake Superior. And they had fallen out of touch after Robin started pursuing her dream of baking in Paris. When she comes home and finds out that her grandparents' bakery is not doing well, Sammy steps in to help her with some of the maintenance projects that she has going on, including replacing some flooring and other things. And she can't help but notice his developed burly muscles that he didn't really have in high school.
Oh my, he's grown up, hasn't he?
He's grown up, yes. And so has she. He takes notice, of course. Sammy is struggling, though, because he recently went through a terrible accident where he thought he was never going to be able to walk again. And so he's learning how to walk not only literally, but figuratively as he learns to move on in his life.
You pose a question of, whether they're going to be able to help see the beautiful life here in Minnesota. I'm sure it's much different from her to go from Paris and baking to her grandmother's and grandfather's bakery. and her friend struggling, will they continue to pine for the life they never can have, or will they find beauty and richness in Minnesota? Tell me a little bit about that exploration.
Yeah, so it's easy for us as people to dream big, to dream of the glitz and glamour, and then of course now celebrity is everything, right? And everybody wants to be an influencer and big on social media and all of those things. And so Robin especially needs to wrestle through the idea of, does she want to be a household name, or does she want to be known by the people who are closest to her? Does she want to seek fame for fame's sake, or would she rather seek honesty and being true to herself and finding love in a small place where she can be truly known rather than just her persona?
And as an author, do you find yourself working through some of your own questions that you explore through these characters?
Yes, I would say so. I mean, I think that particular one is very central because do I want to be known by the people closest to me, or do I want my face to be a household name? Do I be famous for the sake of being famous, or do I want to write quality stories that connect with people and maybe they never even remember who I am? And I'm learning that the latter is definitely where I'm at, or that I would like to write stories with depth and with heart and things that are meaningful to people, rather than having all the accolades and all of the fame and fortune. Not a lot of fortune right now, but that's okay. I received an email recently from a gal who said she'd really connected with one of the sentences that I had been kind of offhandedly in one of my other books, and that email meant so much to me because I'd rather have that moment of connection of someone understanding things in their own life better than to have a television show or to be featured on everybody's social media pages and whatnot.
And how rewarding that a sentence, I mean, that's very powerful, that a sentence had struck her and allowed her to think about something differently. That's a very
Yeah.
powerful connection, and exciting as well to know that what you put out there in the world can make a difference with people.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Andrea. Are there any things that you'd like to say about the Twin Cities Book Festival?
So I love the Twin Cities Book Festival. We went a couple of years ago and were just blown away by how fun it was to see all different authors. And my daughter unexpectedly met a writing hero of hers and was able to buy a book and get a signature. And so that was exciting. And so I'm looking forward to being one of the authors that is going to be there next weekend. I encourage anybody who's in the area to come on out. I believe it's free. I don't remember for sure. I'm pretty sure it's free.
Yep,
Yeah, it
free.
is free. Okay. Yeah, so it's a great time to be in a room with lots of writing greats and lots of new talent, and it's an exciting event.
Wonderful. And we also have Joe Field, another author from Anoka County. And Joe wrote the book Finding Joe Adams. And it's a fascinating exploration of how overcoming great odds, a son searches for his father. And it's a memoir that precipitated in Joe finding his father for the first time when he was 60. He'd not known him, not even his name, wasn't adopted, but just didn't know who his father was. Tell us a little bit about that journey and then the journey to write this story. Joe?
Yeah, and first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here, and Sally, Melsa for the opportunity. Alyssa, I want to let you know that the St. Paul Library is mentioned in my memoir because as a young adult, I went there during the summer months every Saturday and stayed there all day reading as much as I could. And then I took the maximum number of books home with me to read and then bring them back, before the due date, and then load up again on the maximum number. So I want to let you know that makes a difference. basically, not knowing my dad was kind of a simmering question throughout my life of who he was, not even knowing his name. All I knew is he was a fireman and a fire chief. I knew the city of my birth, the year of my birth, and that was it. My mother never disclosed to me who he was. And that's a curiosity. I kind of explained more in the book, maybe why that was. There's probably some reasons for that. She died 30 years ago, taking her secrets of him to the grave with her. So I had very little to go on when I discovered him for the first time in 2017. Just a little bit of a hint on how that discovery came about. I will say DNA testing played a big part. And thanks to the Anoka County Library, Courtney in particular, I had an opportunity just to speak just this past week on how that DNA tracking worked and the other additional research I had to do after I got that to find my father. But I will tell you, finding him was like snapping in that, you put together a jigsaw puzzle, 1,000 pieces, and invariably, sometimes there's going to be one piece missing.
Mm-hmm.
And so where do your eyes go when you look at that completed puzzle with one piece missing? To the vacant spot. And that's how my life felt, even though I became very accomplished, which kind of goes against the grain for a fatherless child. I became an attorney, and have a successful practice now. But I still didn't feel complete. But when I found him, I'll tell you, it was like fireworks went off.
Oh.
And I loved plopping in that final puzzle piece.
It is amazing. Just this last summer, I met a cousin that I did not know I had. And it was a lovely, lovely reunion. And I'd asked her, was this what you imagined? And she goes, well, what really was wonderful, she got to meet her mother for the first time. She had been adopted. And what she loved was finding, her siblings and her cousins, and finding a whole new set of family that loved her as well.
Yeah, that was certainly true for me. I found out I had 7 new siblings. So imagine that. Boy, that's like 60 years of history we met for a weekend. I flew down to Houston, Texas to meet my dad and 6 of the 7 siblings at the time. One lived in Hawaii, poor guy. But so he couldn't make it. But and I've been down 5 times since 2017 to visit with my dad.
And has it been what you expected?
That's a good question. They're a very loving family. They took me in. That doesn't always happen. I've gotten people have reached out to me because, we were featured on national television when we met. And so people reached out to me and they've told me kind of the other side to meeting with a family member they hadn't seen for, ever, and how they were rejected. And I feel so badly for that because, my dad and I, we missed out on 60 years of being connected. And I think God created us to be relational, and we missed out on that relation. So it's tough to go back and reminisce on you remember that time when we did this?
Right.
We don't have that. And but I tell you, his family just opened up to me, and they just welcomed me to the family, and that meant so much to me. And I'm so very, very grateful. But we're very different. Obviously, there's an age difference. He was 87 when I met him. Now he's 94.
Yeah.
But he still gets around. He loves the fish, and that's what I love fishing. He's a gardener, and I'm not so good at gardening, but I try. But
Did he know that you existed?
He did not. He did know that my mother was pregnant, though, at the time. And he actually, right after we met, it was kind of a live, it's an amazing story. When his family started introducing themselves after I met him, and I called him and spoke to him for 40 minutes. And then the next day he accepted my friend request on Facebook. And then so did all of his kids. And then he posted on there a little bit about my mother and how he felt that he abandoned her. And I thought that was an interesting statement by him as an 87-year-old to acknowledge that. So
and what
it's
a healing for him to be able to have that opportunity.
What's that?
A healing for
Yeah.
him in ways to be
Oh,
able
yeah.
to have that opportunity.
Yes, that's a good way to put that. I haven't thought of it that way, but in his post, it made it sound that way.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
You gave him a real opportunity to be able to look back at his life, and it might have been something that he always held as something he would have liked to have done differently, perhaps.
Yes, that's probably true. He's his response on Facebook kind of hinted to that. So very lively guy. He's very spry. I hope I'm that way when I'm his age.
Well, at least you know a little bit more about your genetics now to be able to.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You've got lots of good things ahead of you.
Yeah.
I do have to have us go to break, but I want to make sure I give the websites for both the authors that have joined us today. For the website for Joe Field, who has written Finding Joe Adams, it's joefieldwritings.com. And for Andrea, who shared about her bakery reunion of sorts in her book, How Sweet It Is, to have her website. I'm just going to pull back to my notes here. I've got, Andrea, will you share your website?
Yes, it's pretty easy. Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, Andrea Christensen, and I'm going to spell it for the audience. Andrea, and then it's CHRISTENSON.com. AndreaChristensen.com. And we'll need to go to break, but thank you both for sharing about your stories and getting us excited about the Twin Cities Book Festival. We'll be right back after just a few short commercials.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Hi, I'm Bruce Klopfleisch. Join me every Sunday at 5 p.m. for Politics Matters. We'll talk about how civics, politics, and law affect you by highlighting a different topic each week. On this week's show, we cover Article 3 of the Constitution involving the judicial branch, explore if there really are undecided voters, and cover the conservative takeover of the Department of Justice in Project 2025. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. for Politics Matters with Bruce Klopfleisch to discover why government and civics matter. And podcast the show anytime on your favorite app.
Crooner's Supper Club invites you to enjoy drinks, a delicious dinner, and live music from both big-name local and national artists in a wide array of styles. Before or after your show, check out the new Maggie's Lounge, a perfect spot to visit with friends. It's open Wednesdays through Sundays beginning at 4:30 with cocktails and light fare. And you don't need a ticket to enjoy the great atmosphere of Maggie's. Crooner's Supper Club off Moore Lake and Highway 65. A little piece of old school nightlife in the 21st century.
Hi, my name is Katty from Minnesota Recovery Connection.
And I'm Erin with Minnesota Recovery Connection.
We'd like you to listen to our show, Redefining Recovery, a Recovery Revolution. It is on Saturdays at 10 a.m. on AM 950.
On the show, we discuss topics about addiction, understanding substance use disorder, the many pathways to recovery, and finding your personal journey.
Listen to Redefining Recovery Saturdays at 10 a.m. and find our podcast on your favorite app.
It's 6:42 p.m. Time for Steve Plotto and his son Dylan to do the dishes. They talk about everything from the yuckiness of girls to the awesomeness of his soccer team. Sometimes they don't talk at all. Then, hey! The dreaded splash fight. It's Dad o'clock, and it's the best time of the day. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Step into a world of financial empowerment with the Do Different Better show. I'll be your host, Elaine Rasmussen. Join me Sundays at noon on AM 950 as we do a deep dive into wealth education with topics like investing, real estate, and entrepreneurship. No nonsense, tell it like it is, keeping it 100 for everyday people like you. Tune in to get practical insights to rewrite your financial future. So each Sunday at noon, let's do different better. You can hear Do Different Better anytime on your favorite app. Learn more about me at socialimpactnow.com.
Welcome back to Connections Radio Show. I'm Lori Fitz, your host. And our show's all about talking about ideas that matter. And we're so glad that you were with us today. because we've been talking about library connections, and that's brought to us by MELSA on the second Saturdays of the month here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. And MELSA stands for Metropolitan Library Service Agency. And hosting with me, my co-host Sally of MELSA and Susan the librarian. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you for a great day of learning all kinds of wonderful activities and great authors and all sorts of fun things to do. I'm going to do a quick recap first with Susan about some of the things that we want to make sure that's on our calendar for Teen-tober. And then I'll come back to you, Sally, to talk a little bit about the Twin Cities Book Festival.
Well, a very, very quick recap is go to your library's website and see what they have on offer for teens. And also, I recommend everybody checking in with their librarians to see what teen reads are good for both teens and adults, because there's a lot of crossovers that are really great.
And it is Teen-tober across the country.
Not just us, it's everyone.
And it's time to get our teens connected.
Yes.
And one of the things that I heard you say that I really like is not only are there the fun activities for things for kids to do, but also some support for school and scholastic. And that's very helpful as well. Sally, tell us a little bit about the Twin Cities Book Festival.
Sure. So that is coming up next Saturday, October 19th from 10 to 5 in the Progress Center at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. And you can go to TwinCitiesBookFestival.com, by the way, for the full array of things going on there that day. There are a number of bookstores who have tables who are selling books. And then, of course, there are tons of authors who are also there available to talk about their work and sign and sell copies of their books, including 8 at our table, the MELSA table, which features the Anoka County Library's local author program participants. And we heard from Andrea and Joe, who will be there. Joe again from noon to 2 p.m. and Andrea from 3:30 to 5 p.m. But stay all day. Stay all day and come by our booth repeatedly.
And you get to meet and talk directly with the authors. And if you enjoyed hearing a little bit about both Andrea and Joe's story, have a chance to go and meet them and ask your own questions about why they wrote their books, what they discovered in writing their books, their process of writing books. If you're interested in being an author yourself, the best way I think to get started is talk with people that are doing it. And how are they doing it, and what have been their successes in getting their books out there? And one way is through our Twin Cities Book Festival. We have 1 minute left, and I want to give it to Susan. Susan, can you also give just a little bit about online stuff that we've talked about in other shows that I think is great to remind folks about?
Yep. Some of the ones that we'll connect with today are the Help Now, which is our online tutors. But we also have just general support online resources for any kind of homework for all grade levels.
So we're great opportunities through MELSA, through every one of our libraries to support your teens. Go to the library this month.
Or email Susan the librarian, THEE librarian @gmail.com.
What's cool, if you do email Susan, she will bring it up in our next show. And our next show will be the second Saturday of each month. So thank you for joining us today. It's been a great time to celebrate Teen-tober and the great Twin Cities Book Festival.
Hi, everyone. Listen to my show, The Matt McNeil Show, weekday